While it's still too soon to draw any conclusions as to what caused the crash of China Eastern Airlines Flight 5735, I came across an interesting article in the Epoch Times. And while it is just speculation on his part, an airline pilot named Gao Fei, a senior Chinese-American pilot with extensive experience flying the Boeing 737-800 in China before moving to the U.S., has told the Epoch Times that he has a unique take on the incident. And while Captain Gao Fei's take that the crash may have been caused by one of the flight crew isn't a new one, the information he revealed is quite telling, and that's because of Gao's personal flight experience in China. Gao said his doubts stem from Flight 5735's flight crew assignments, and because of that he cannot rule out the hazardous potential that it may have been caused by an emotionally distressed co-pilot in the cockpit that day. A co-pilot who was actually a very experienced, highly decorated, much admired pilot who had recently been demoted from a very senior captain position to that of a co-pilot for no apparent reason whatsoever. So that begs the question, why? What could have caused the China Aviation Authority to make such a drastic move on such a well-beloved senior airline captain? And could this be the missing piece of Flight 5735's puzzle? We're going to put those pieces together next on Maximus. Greetings everybody, Maximus here. So like I said, of course, it's still too early to speculate about things of which we have no evidence. So whether the China 737 crash was mechanically caused or by human interference still remains to be seen. However, today's story is just as intriguing if it turns out that the crew had nothing to do with the crash at all, because it will allow us to take a peek into the often secretive world of Chinese commercial aviation and see the different adverse circumstances Chinese pilots face that pilots in the West don't have to overcome. Gao Fei is a Chinese-American pilot with 26 years of flying experience. Before moving to the United States, he used to fly the Boeing 737-800 in China. But aviation experts from all over the world continue to call the incident in China odd. Former National Transportation Safety Board investigator Benjamin Berman told Bloomberg News that the 737-800 is designed so that it will normally not dive at such steep angles, saying that it was either caused by a highly unusual malfunction or an intentional effort by the plane's pilot. According to former Chinese and now American pilot Gao Fei, as well as several other experts, the crashed aircraft was properly maintained and the weather was good on the day of the incident. So everything appeared normal, except the flight crew configuration, especially that of the pilots. According to the only information the Chinese government has made public so far, Yang Hongda, the captain of the crashed plane, was only 32 years old, with a total flight time of just 6,709 hours. But shockingly, Zhang Jiangping, the first co-pilot, was a 59-year-old former captain with a total flight time of over 32,500 hours. Gao said that it's highly unusual for the less experienced Yang to be the captain, with only just over 6,000 hours under his belt. According to the airline's code of conduct, a senior like Zhang would have normally been the captain, and Yang would be Zhang's apprentice at best. The airline pilot Gao was so puzzled by this, he said that this configuration was counterintuitive and should have been the other way around. The Epoch Times article states that in December of 2018, the CAAC, the Civil Aviation Administration of China, published an article on the doomed plane's 59-year-old co-pilot Yang Honda's career, calling him a 40-year veteran pilot as well as a mentor to young pilots. According to that publication, Zhang is one of the few veteran pilots of China Eastern Yunnan Airlines and has piloted 4 different types of aircraft. An old apprentice of Zhang, Li Ming, told the Chinese state-owned Phoenix Weekly that he was shocked but also saddened when he saw Zhang listed as a co-pilot on the crew manifest. In his eyes, Zhang, who had 40 years of flying experience, is a highly decorated veteran pilot, and he said many of his old apprentices are now China aviation industry leaders. According to Li's recollection, he said Zhang once served as a captain instructor, a squadron captain, as well as an inspector. Aside from working for an airline's management, the highest position a Chinese pilot can achieve is to be appointed to the position of inspector. However, as the Epoch Times pointed out, somehow Zhang was demoted to a co-pilot, losing his decorated status and taking a significant hit to his salary, suggesting, Gao said, a potential cause for emotional distress and a safety hazard for the airline. According to Gao, the average annual salary of a captain or pilot instructor in China is at least $120,000, while a co-pilot's salary is about $46,000 a year, which is a drastic difference. A former insider in China's aviation industry told the Epoch Times that Zhang was a senior pilot of the former Yunnan Airlines, which later merged with China Eastern Airlines. After the merger, the former employees of Yunnan Airlines, including Zhang, had a highly complex relationship with the upper management of China Eastern Airlines, so much so that their disputes were said to go well beyond personal grievances. Yunnan Airlines used to be one of China's most profitable airline companies, and its pilots were fairly well treated. However, the pilots have reportedly experienced significant salary cuts and poor treatment after the merger. Yunnan Airlines was forcibly merged with China Eastern Airlines. Merging a profitable company with a loss-making company was unprecedented. A former Yunnan Airlines employee told Travel Daily, "This move has caused much dissatisfaction among Yunnan's original employees. But soon the grievances began to turn ugly. Due to long-term dissatisfaction, from March 31st to April 1st, 2008, pilots of the former Yunnan Airlines organized a protest against the newly merged company. Many pilots refused to land at their destinations. Upon arrival to their destination, citing bad weather, they then flew their planes back to their original destination. After 21 flights refused to land, the company punished 13 pilots and grounded one captain." But Gao said that demoting a decorated pilot without a reasonable cause could seriously affect the pilot's mental state and pose a passenger safety hazard. Most airlines take their flight crew's mental health extremely seriously. This sort of demotion is very unusual, Gao said. In the United States, pilots can easily change jobs, but job changes in China are highly restricted and usually coupled with huge fines, he said. In a free world with Zhang's qualifications, any airline would offer him a high salary. But I'm afraid in his case, it was difficult for him to escape the job. In November of 2014, 42 airlines in China signed the Convention on the Orderly Flow of Airline Pilots, a pact that stipulates that the outflow rate of pilots from each company should not exceed 1%, seriously limiting Chinese pilots from changing jobs. As a result, Chinese pilots who apply for job changes usually have to go through a lengthy litigation process without guarantee of success, or are forced to hand back a massive portion of their compensation. According to Travel Daily, the Chinese travel news site, the pilot's emotions can significantly impact aviation safety, suggesting that it is part of the airline's responsibility to monitor the pilot's mental state and make every effort to ensure flight security. Gao said for a pilot, any mood swings could pose a safety risk affecting the pilot's concentration, reflexes, and reaction speed during the flight. The pilot's mental state is an important aspect of the incident investigation. And finally, Gao said, "I hope the Chinese authorities will disclose the real investigation results and provide a reasonable conclusion instead of covering up the facts." Okay, please hear me carefully and understand this. I'm not pilot blaming nor saying that the cause of this crash was the pilots. Like I've repeatedly said before, the final judge is always the facts. And considering this week Chinese officials actually sent the flight data recorder to the US to have them attempt to download it, that's a good sign they may actually be open to telling the truth in this case. But regardless of the outcome, this was a story I thought was still worth telling, if for nothing else than an inside look at how Chinese commercial aviation works from their pilot's perspective. How about you? What do you think? Let me know down below. Well, that's going to do it for now. And if you'd like to help support the channel, the links are always in the description. And before you go, please remember to subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell. And remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.